Hello, wonderful people. How are you? Today I'm talking about confirmation bias and explaining a little bit about how we can protect ourselves against confirmation bias and how we have to accept it because it's part of who we are. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So what is confirmation bias? We've probably talked about this before, but confirmation bias is this. When you say 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? You believe that. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And why wouldn't you believe it? And then you see it and you go, look, there you are. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And you see somebody else do it. You go, there you are. You see? Just goes to show. That's what I was saying. I've been saying this for years. Confirmation bias, you can hear it in people when they say things like this. Like I always say, that to me is a red flag. There's a red flag flying when somebody says, like I always say. Okay? Or, like I was saying to my friend the other day, and this is this repetition that we get into, which is, I always say this. And you know, when you talk to people, I've noticed this. When you talk to people, if you manage the conversation nicely, you can get really interesting things out of people. But quite often, most of what we say is a repetition of what we've already said. They do say that. We say something like 90% or 95% of what we say today, we said yesterday. You know, it's like there's a really small window of originality. Well, confirmation bias is all about that. It's making us look for things to confirm what we believe. Okay? It's just, you know, we've talked about this reticular activating system. It's the filters. And somebody put in one of the comments, I really liked it. We filter everything through our BS, right? But that's not bullshit. That's our belief system. And so our belief system filters things, and this is what our confirmation bias is doing. It's saying, you believe this and we're going to show you lots of that. Okay, so we look for it. And, you know, how many times do you catch yourself saying, I knew it, look, it just goes to show. That expression, it just goes to show, that's confirmation bias. Okay, is it bad? No, but anything like this, anything that is allowed to run riot, yes, it can cause problems. It really can cause problems. So what the emissaries were saying to me about this confirmation bias, I don't know how we got into that, but I think they mentioned it. And they said that when you say, I don't know where the truth lies, and I know that that we've talked about this before, but this is very, very important. You see, my confirmation bias, it's very important. But it's very important for us to understand that when we say, I don't know where the truth lies, that stops that from happening. It stops us from saying, there you are, you see, because we don't know. We don't know. However, the emissaries, rightly enough, said that what that does for us, although it keeps us safe and it stops this confirmation bias from taking, you know, full reign, it does leave us vulnerable. And what they were saying was it leaves us vulnerable because we can then believe a lot of things because we don't know what the truth is. It leaves us open to believe anything. Let me give you an example. When I do my hypnotic past life regression and higher self work with people, I believe myself to have a very open mind. That's what I believe. But I'm aware that I don't have a very open mind because I'm aware that when somebody presents something to me that is very different to what my belief structure is, my mind goes into hyperdrive. So I'll be listening to somebody who's telling me what's going on their side in their past life, because, you know, lots of people don't go to past lives, they go to other existences, you know, the birds, the light beings, the angels. It really, you know, it's just wow at the moment. However, every now and again, somebody pushes my boundaries so far that my mind's going, This is a load of rubbish. This is a load of rubbish. This can't be true. This is mad. This is mad. And I have to cut that voice when I'm listening. I have to say, excuse me, this is not my experience. This is this person's experience. And so I kind of go into this battle of not accepting what the person's saying, but listening to it and accepting it as a possibility. I think that's the difference. Okay, how many times has somebody been telling you about something and your mind's going, yeah. We've got to kind of get away from that. But our mind has to be saying, well, that's an interesting possibility. Okay? But what the emissaries were saying was that when we're in this place, we can be open to hear a lot more. Obviously, if you're allowing yourself to be aware of other things, you're going to hear other things. And you're going to hear things way outside of your comfort zone. I'm constantly being taken outside of my comfort zone by my clients, and I love it. I like it. I do like it because it gives me flexibility of thought. Because we fall into rigidity. You know, we have our kind of, you know, our mainstream, and then I'll go as far as here. Well, I'm okay here. And then somebody takes you to here, and you're like, what? It's a really interesting experience. But I'm also aware of what happens. Your mind's trying to shut that down all the time. Shut that down. My mind is trying to shut it down. So we've got to get a balance of not shutting down, but a balance of allowing things to sit. So the emissaries give me two metaphors. They said you've got to leave things on the back burner and you've got to let them percolate. So we're talking about coffee here. You've got to let them percolate, leave them on the back burner. So it's kind of like don't reject. The worst we can do is say no. Take it and just let it sit there and see what it's like. Let's see. Obviously, what happens is when you take something new that's way outside of your comfort zone, then your confirmation bias kicks in. And over time, you're going to have things saying, look, you see, it can't be true. Or, hey, it might be true. But that's okay being in that place because you haven't accepted it. You mustn't take it in. That's all. Don't take it in. Just let it sit there. Yeah? I'm surrounded by plates of stuff, if we're using another metaphor. Plates and dishes of all kinds that I don't know are true or not. I'm surrounded by them. I've got some core stuff going on, but there's a lot more outside than there is inside. You know, and what about your core beliefs? What are your core beliefs? The ones that are unshakable. I don't think we need too many core beliefs, these unshakable ones. And even those core beliefs, unshakable as they might be, doesn't necessarily mean that they're true. In fact, I would go as far as to say they're definitely not true. Only because of the way that we filter and stuff like that. But my core belief is that there is a higher power. My core belief. And it's fairly unshakable for me. My belief is that, for example, my wife loves me. I believe that wholeheartedly. Okay? I believe that I'm a good person. So these are kind of core beliefs that really, however, imagine if I were to start hitting my wife, beating her up, that love would very, very soon disappear. And then I certainly wouldn't be a good person, would I? So all of your core beliefs are only based on a condition, the condition that you maintain right now. So even they can change, and I believe there's a higher power. Well, I don't know. I don't know what would shake that, but hey, something could. I mean, tomorrow aliens could come down and say, not the blue beam aliens, just aliens, and they could say, actually, we created you. There's no God. We are the creators. Then I would have to rethink everything. However, there's a higher power. They could still be classed as a higher power. But I'd have to rethink my God stuff. I'd have to rethink my Jesus stuff. So everything is very ephemeral. is very, very, very thin and fragile. And so we mustn't build too much on our beliefs. We mustn't build, on this foundation that's so fragile. So percolating on the back burner, all the dishes around you, looking at them thinking, well, let's see. And you can still try the dishes. What's that like? Bit sour, that one. Oh, that tastes a bit funny. That smells a bit fishy. Yeah. But let them sit there. I mean, there are some things that we reject. Okay? That we reject. However, there's room. There's room. I mean, it's endless what you can put out there as long as you don't take it in. It's endless. Just have it there. Go, well, I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see. And I am waiting to see. Are you waiting to see? I am waiting. I can't fucking wait to see. I'd like to see just a bit. I don't want to know the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me, God. I just want, let's have a bit. Come on. Come on. Give us a bit of whatever. Something that we can hang our hat on. Something that we can talk about and go, ooh, have you well? Obviously, but not Blue Beam, thank you very much. We've had enough of the Blue Beam thing. All right, I love you all. I'll speak to you all later. Bye-bye.